And then Thursday, Julia, Shatara, and Raven at 1:15. And in the afternoon, we have Cecilia and Gabriella. Now notice that there are only two in the afternoon on Thursday. If I'm sorry, because I believe it's the jack-o'-lantern group. Let me look. Is it y'all? It's the jack-o'-lantern group. Y'all just have 5 people. So these 5 people right here, when it comes time for that, when it comes time for the 2:45, right? Then y'all will join one of these other groups and observe or be a participant. It doesn't matter. You can talk to the leader, whoever's going to be leading whichever one you're going to join and watch, to see if they would rather you be an observer or be a participant. We'll get there when we get there. We like to take things one day at a time instead of getting too anxious about the future.
So we're only doing group with our, like, I'm a goblins. I'm only doing group sessions with the goblins.
That is correct. And the reason is because when you have a group, typically settings where you see a lot of group, partial hospitalization, PHP programs, IOP programs, they typically predominantly do group. If you go to like substance abuse treatment, things like that, predominantly group. So when you have groups and they meet 2 or 3 days a week, 3 or 4 days a week, over time, their relationships begin to build. They begin to know each other better. They begin to develop, understandings of each other. And for you guys, I want y'all to work with the same group so y'all can experience that. Does that make sense? It will very much mimic what it's like for our group participants. Okay, Shatara, did you have something more for me?
No, that was it.
Okay. Anybody else about the schedule? Now, you are going to review the basic skills, the video, the group skills, which is a handout, and then the group stages, which is a YouTube video during this next week. Just review them. Especially make sure that you watch the basic skills and the group skills. Now, when you are going to facilitate the session, I have made this handout for you so that you can begin to plan for your session. I'm going to come back to this. I'm not going to tackle it quite just yet because right now, let me stop sharing my screen. There are a couple of other things I want to do before we go there. So, when you lead your group, each of you is going to have to lead from a specific theoretical orientation. You're going to have to demonstrate that theoretical orientation during your session. How do you do that? You do that by, let's say mine is brief solution focused, right? I would Google or YouTube or whatever I needed to do. I would interventions that are brief solution focused. And you're going to get a list of them. And during your session, you need to draw from those theory-specific interventions. Theory-specific language. Use their language. So, for example, brief solution focus, you'll hear the terms problem talk and solution talk. So during your session, I would want to hear you, if you're doing brief solution focus, I would want to hear you saying, ooh, I hear some problem talk. I'm wondering if you can turn that to some solution talk for me, right? I'm going to want to hear the language from the theory. Now, what theory will you do? Well, right now, you're going to decide, and this is how you're going to do it. In just a minute, I'm going to put you with your goblin group or your ghoul group, or your jack-o'-lantern group. You're going to get with your people. Then I'm going to share with your group a sign-up form. And I'm going to let me show you what it looks like. What yours might look like. This is what it's going to look like. This one is for the jack-o'-lanterns. Jack-o'-lantern, choose a group counseling theory, right? So there are several different theories here. There are more theories listed here than there are people in your group. But only one person can do each theory. So y'all talk about it. I'm going to share this as soon as y'all get into your group. And then y'all talk about it, which ones y'all want, and whichever one you want, make sure that you just sign up now. That is how I'm going to know which theory each of you has selected or will be demonstrating. Okay? And as far as how you're going to facilitate the session, that's going to be one of the last things that we talk about today. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and put y'all in y'all's groups. Are y'all here? Y'all, everybody back? All right. So, everybody got signed up for a theory, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. So, going back to the agenda. So, we're at the place, the agenda tab. I'm on the second page, and we're at the bullet meet and greet / select theories. We just did that. Now, we'll talk about facilitating group sessions. So, taking a look at the live binder facilitating the session. So right here to the left, this is the process that each of you will follow as you lead your 1 hour group. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to open the group. What are the things that you do when you open the group? Well, first, welcome your members, briefly review group rules. And I'll share group rules with y'all in just a minute. I have some that I can share with you so that you all have some. And then you're going to state the session objective. What is it we're going to focus on today or accomplish today, right? Those are the tasks that you do when you open the group. During this phase, opening the group, the skills that you would use, we've got skills divided into 4 different groups. There are attending skills. Attending is, those are all of the things that we do with our words and our bodies to show our clients, I'm following, I'm with you, I'm listening, I hear you, right? And when you review those counseling skills, the basic counseling skills, and then the group skills, when you review those 2 things over here in the yellow counseling skills tab, I'll talk about minimal encouragers. I'll talk about solar and your nonverbals. And of course, I'll talk about reflecting. Notice that it says when you reflect throughout your session, primarily reflect feeling and stay with feeling to the greatest degree possible. But again, I talk about all of that in that video where I review the skills. Now, it doesn't have any specific skills right here for opening the group. That's because, you know, when you state the session objective, that technically is one of the skills, but you're going to open by talking. You're going to open by talking, letting everybody know what we're doing today. Welcome. As a reminder of our group rules, they are this, and this, and today what we're going to focus on is this, right? Now, after you open the group, you're going to focus the session. And to do that, conduct an opening round. So, what's an opening round? An opening round, again, it's one of those skills that's described in the group skills handout that you're going to review. But basically, it's just getting input from each member, a little short snippet of input from each group member. You can do a round in a particular order. You can say, let's start like the Brady Bunch. You know, y'all remember the Brady Bunch? Everybody had a box. Let's go in a circle around the box, you know. Or you can say, we'll do it popcorn style. When you're ready to speak, when you're ready to share, just start sharing, right? It's popcorn style, whoever wants to go next, but you're going to do a round. So, for example, a short round would be, let's start today by each of you, just telling the group something in your heart. What's in your heart at this moment? Again, input from group members, something very short and simple to kind of focus them in. Now, I'll come over here to the skills, to the pink columns in just a minute, but I want to keep talking about what next. What do you do after you focus the session, which is do a round with your people. Then you're going to want to go into an activity or an exercise. So, this is where oops, sorry. I don't know, I'm echoing for some reason. Do y'all hear that echo? That's better. Thank you. I'm sorry. I guess if we've got mics on, it'll start doing that. Okay, let's go back. So, between now and Skills Labs week, you need to be going online, going into your textbooks, maybe your theories of counseling textbook that you had, whatever sources that you've got, whatever theory you selected today, Google or go to YouTube. YouTube is awesome for this kind of thing because then you can watch somebody actually like execute an intervention. But you're going to want to Google or search for group count, like let's pretend like I have CBT, group counseling activities, or Adlerian, group counseling activities. Whatever your theory is, find an activity that you like, that you think, yeah, I think we can do this in my group within the time that I've got that's allotted for my group. So, some activity, it's whatever you decide to do. Now, when you're doing things virtually in group counseling, it's different because you can't really pass out a piece of paper to everybody. Everybody can't have a pen or whatever. So it might be that whatever activity you facilitate, you might have to improvise. You might have to modify just a little bit so that you provide them with online tools. Like maybe instead of drawing on a piece of paper, maybe you have everybody like pull up Google Draw and they draw on a virtual screen, right? So whatever you do, you need to modify it for the virtual environment. Now, so when you start this phase, after you conduct your round, you say, okay, now we're going to do an activity. You're going to introduce the activity. If necessary, model for your members how to do the activity, especially in a virtual environment, especially if you'll be using like some, tech tools of some kind. No matter how simple you might think that they are to use, you probably will have group members who aren't familiar with them. So you probably want to explain, model, provide some instructions. And then members engage with the activity and you assist them as they do. So you're doing an activity. Now, when you're done with the activity, and I would say opening the group shouldn't take more than, 2 or 3 minutes. That's not going to take a long time, maybe 5 max. When you focus the session and you conduct an opening round with your group members, excuse me, y'all, I've got a frog in my throat. I would say that could take 10 to 20 minutes, just depending on how much your group members are sharing during that phase, right? When you facilitate the activity, I would say try to keep that portion down to like 30 minutes max, because you're going to need time to process the activity. And that's just like, okay, we've done the activity. Tell me, what did you get from it? Or what new insights did you gain? You're asking your group members to share. And then After you process and talk about takeaways from the group or insights that are gained, things that were learned, you're going to close the group. And when you close the group, you'll summarize the group session, because and I talk about summarizing in that video, and I tell you the reasons that we summarize. There are like 3 or 4 main reasons that we summarize, and one of them is to signal a shift in the session. So you'll summarize at this point to signal to everybody that we're closing the group, and this is what we did today, and these are some of the big takeaways that I heard, among group members. And then you'll want to end with one final closing round. So let's say my opening round, I said, let's share something in our heart right now. Whenever I end my session, I might say, how about now we each share something that's in our head after doing our activity, something in our head that we're going to leave with and continue to think about. Very simple. And you can think about rounds as being kind of similar to icebreakers. So you can Google icebreakers, see if there's one that you like, but you might just again want to modify it a little bit so that it is, like specific to whatever topic that you're going to be focusing on. When it comes to the topic of the session, you get to decide as the group leader. So you've got lots of things to plan this week. You need to find you some things that you would want to do for an opening round and a closing round. You need to find an activity that is specific to the theory that you selected to lead everybody with. And what was that other thing I was just talking about? I had a menopause moment, y'all. I can't remember what I just said. It went away. So you've got some things that you need to be thinking about and preparing for. Now, over here in the right-hand column, these are the skills that you would use during the different phases, right? During each phase of the process. When you get to step 2 in the process, focusing the session, that's when you need to be sure you're using your minimal encouragers. You're attending. You're telling them all, I'm with you. I hear you. I'm reflecting what I hear you say. You're also going to be facilitating communication among them. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about that when we meet together Monday of Skills Lab. I'm specifically going to talk about the importance of facilitating their communication. And you're going to do that by using some of these skills, which you'll review. They're in the yellow tab, the group skills. You also have to manage the members, and these are different skills that are used to manage members. And you're going to facilitate the whole process, and you're going to do that by using some of these skills here in the far right column. Now, you're going to do all 4 of those. You're going to try to use all these skills that you need to use to facilitate a good group. When you get to step 2, you're going to use them all during phase 3 and phase 4. But when you're closing the group, and you're going to continue to use your attending skills when you're closing the group and doing a final round. But these are some specific other types of skills that you also might want to use during the closing the group phase. Linking members' experiences, a mass group interpretation, which again, you're going to read about when you review that handout. But a mass group interpretation is just reflecting kind of like the group's emotion, the group's emotional state, like predominant emotional state. So you could say something like, seems like this was a really heavy group today. This felt heavy for our members, right? So you're reflecting the whole group as together instead of like reflecting an individual person. Maybe you're going to want to manage members by offering constructive feedback and continuing to support and encourage them, and summarizing some of what you hear to facilitate the process. So I'm going to excuse me, I've got a big frog in my throat. I'm going to come back to y'all and see how you're feeling about the process and the handout that I've given you, and do you feel like it's enough to help you get started with your preparation?
A question, Dr. McFarland.
Okay.
For these sessions, you said that they're hour long.
Mm-hmm.
How do we, if it's multiple of us that have to lead within the hour, so are our sessions going to be shorter? How are they all?
Oh, yes, because the goblins are going to be. Let me show you. Good question. I'll just show you. It's easier to show you than it is to talk about it. Let me get it back pulled up real quick for you. So we're going to use Go React. Okay. So we're going to meet virtually together using this platform. We're going to log in at 10 o'clock to class, just like you did today. But then, when we come back in the afternoon, you're going to log into class, just like always, because we start at 1 o'clock, and the first group counseling demonstration or group counseling sessions, those start at 1:15. And that gives us like 15 minutes right before the first session to just touch base, make sure everything's good, help people figure out how to work, Go Reactor technology. Now, so then I'm going to say, okay, it's time for our first session. And when it's time for our first session, everybody is going to log into Go React. And this is where the magic is going to happen. Notice that I've already identified each of you the session that you're going to lead. So like Keosha will lead Tuesday at 1:15. So 1:15 on Tuesday, Keosha and all the other ghouls in her group are going to click right there. Tuesday 1:15, Keosha. Now, whenever you click that, when each of your group members clicks that, you're going to click join. Each of you will see join. Notice down here that there are certain people who are, and I'll show you, manage video reviewers. These are the people who will be able to log in to this session. Keosha, William, Cecilia, Adriana, Juliet. They are the people in this group. And there are a couple of you there's another person I need to add. Now that you're in Go React, I'll add you to it too. If you don't see your name here, but you're a ghoul. So these are the people. Nobody from the Goblin group and nobody from the Jack-o'-lantern group can join. Just your group can. But what's going to happen, and we're going to practice this on Monday. I'm going to give y'all time to practice so that y'all get a sense of Go React and how it's going to work. But each person in your group is going to click join, and when you do, a screen comes up, and it's like the Brady Bunch. There's a box, and your face is in the boxes, right? You must keep your cam on. Each person needs to keep your cam on. Now, Keosha, or whoever it is, for example, this particular one, let me go back here. If it's Tuesday at 1:15 and you're a ghoul, you're going to go into Keosha's group. And when everybody gets into the group and you can see everybody's faces, Keosha would be the person who would start the recording. And it'll record y'all's group session. Then I can go back and I can give you specific feedback. You can give each other specific feedback too for counseling skills, for whatever. You can leave video comments, you can leave audio comments, you can leave just text comments, you can use markers, and y'all are going to be doing some of that later on, but I don't want us to get too far ahead right now. What I want y'all to know right now is that I've already got them all set up for y'all, and when it's your turn to lead, you and your group members will join join the session that's got your name, and you'll be the one to start recording, and we're going to practice this on Monday before Tuesday, before the first session, so that y'all feel good about it. Y'all good with that? Okay.
I guess the question from that is, pardon me, if it's an hour long and there's 3 of us that say we're doing it, are we doing the group session, all 3 of us?
Okay, so I didn't quite answer that question, did I? Let me try this one more time. So notice that, and let me go ahead and get rid of this one right here. I'm gonna archive it. Archive. Notice that Tuesday 1:15 Kiosha is right here. Tuesday 1:15 Karina is right here. And Tuesday 1:15 Ayana is right here. That's because we've got the Ghoul group, the Goblin group, and the Jack-o'-lanterns group. So at 1:15, all the Jack-o'-lanterns are going to go to this one with Ayana. And all the, so we'll have 3 groups going at the same time, 3 separate groups. I'll be able to go in and observe some of each group, but the beautiful thing about Go React, again, is that even though I'm not going to be present for the majority of your group that you lead, I can't watch any one person's from beginning to end live. It records it, and I'll be going back and watching every group session after Skills Labs week to give y'all feedback. Did I answer your question that time?
It did. So 2 a day equals the 6
Yes.
total in the group.
Yes.
Makes
Yes.
sense. Thank you.
That took some strategizing, I confess, William. What else do y'all want to know?
I had a question.
Okay.
My question is, typically in groups that I've come into contact with, there's typically a context for the reason the group is forming, be it like everybody in the group is dealing with like substance abuse or eating disorders or codependency or something like that. Do you recommend we create sort of a hypothetical framework for our group?
If y'all want to all decide, okay, no, let me back up. Here's what you need to know about me and working with me is that I don't do mock sessions ever. Like, I don't believe in mock because I just don't think that they yield the types of responses that are helpful for us when we're learning, right? So everybody needs to bring your own stuff. Now, probably not your deepest and darkest stuff, but present your real stuff to each other. If you find that you have commonalities, and we've all battled with depression, or we've all battled with, divorce, we're all going through divorce or whatever. If you want to come up with something, you can as a group, and then kind of keep that theme throughout, but only if it's like authentically true for y'all. Make sense? Otherwise, when it's your turn to lead, you get to decide, like, I found this awesome brief solution focus activity. I think it would work well on the topic of boundaries. And so when you're introducing your session, you're going to say, today we're going to focus on work-life boundaries, whatever boundaries that you think. And you might talk to everybody in the group, say, I want to do my own boundaries, or, what kind of boundaries would be helpful for y'all to talk about? Get input from your members before to help you plan if you want to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How y'all feeling? Are y'all starting to kind of conceptualize how this is all going to happen? Like, this can really happen online. What's nuts is that when COVID happened, so many PHP and IOP programs went virtual and have remained virtual. And then there have been all these new virtual PHP and IOPs open up because it's been such a hit, So some of y'all might actually be doing this kind of work with clients when you're done. Who knows, right? Anything else? Where on the agenda, the last item says preparing for skills labs, but I've already told you what I need for you to do. Just make sure that you review those things in the yellow tab with the digital binder. Review those so that we're all on the same page and you have a feel for the skills. and then just do the imposter monsters. I'll show it. Y'all need me to show it to you and show you the crossword puzzle? It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. I hope you enjoy the movie, and like I say, it's I'd call it PG-13, PG-13 maybe plus. I don't know. It's not X, so you can have your kids watch it with you and get some giggles out of it. Get your popcorn. Anything else? Let me see what I missed in the chat box. So Julia, I think as far as like that long list of all the sessions that I've already created, I've set the date on them for like, so if you're going to do yours on Tuesday, then all the Tuesday ones will be available Tuesday, and then Wednesday you'll be able to see the Wednesday ones and third. I think that's how I have to go. Yeah, I'd say we're good to go. So look, if you need to message me between now and then, please don't send me an email. Just plain old email. Instead, just log into Blackboard, go to messages, and just send me a message right in the Blackboard course. That's my preferred method. It really helps me to corral all your messages so they don't get lost in the abyss of my inbox. I'm looking forward to it, y'all. I can't wait to see what y'all do.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'll see y'all real soon.
Appreciate it.
Message me through Blackboard if you need me. Let me